You might think that all children are the same, messy, loud, hyperballs of energy. Yet some exhibit traits so extraordinary and unbelievable that they shatter such stereotypes. Geniuses blessed with talents beyond their few years, unique abilities that set them worlds apart. Join us as we show you 20 kids you won't believe actually exist. Number 20, Liam Hoekstra. When 5-month-old Liam Hoekstra first stood upright, it shocked his parents. When he nimbly climbed the stairs without help, they were astonished. You see, Liam had astounding strength as an infant, bench pressing over twice his weight by age 2. Nicknamed Mini Hulk for extreme muscle tone rivaling bodybuilders, Liam's genes gave him superhuman power. The condition causing baby Liam's unprecedented might is called myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy. A genetic mutation blocks his body's production of myostatin, the protein that inhibits muscle growth. Liam's muscles ballooned wildly from birth with this crucial limiting mechanism removed. By kindergarten, he boasted defined ab muscles in his torso and could do chin-ups with just one arm. Liam set world records for feats like the 33-foot weighted crawl at age 5, demonstrating his off-the-chart strength. But the gene also brings burdens, such as joint stiffness resulting from excessive muscle mass and overtaxing of organs that support Liam's structure. Despite these challenges, his family focuses on the positives, the incredible inspiration Liam provides by maximizing his abilities. Now a teenager, he is doing well and continues to nurture strengths that make him truly one of a kind, superhumanly strong. Number 19, Muhammad Kaleem. 19-year-old Muhammad Kaleem from India holds no superhuman fantasies about the underlying biology behind his greatly enlarged hands and feet. Kaleem was simply born with extraordinary limb gigantism that developed gradually throughout childhood until stabilizing near adolescence. His macrodactyly condition stems from excessive limb tissue proliferation during fetal development, localizing to hands or feet bilaterally. For the unassuming Muhammad, however, physical hardship and social stigma surrounding his overgrown extremities caused deeper distress than anatomical woes alone. After a long-awaited corrective surgery recently improved functionality and appearance, Muhammad looks towards a brighter future. As an untreated child, though, his school prohibited attendance, fearing classmates might feel upset viewing Muhammad's drastically enlarged palms and distorted limb dimensions overall. Villagers also mocked the boy's disability with cruel taunts like "freak." Lacking financial means for specialized surgeries, the Kaleem family helplessly endured decades of verbal harassment atop hardened physical burdens that simple everyday tasks more challenging. Then, in 2014, a generous hospital program funded custom because Muhammad was considered fully disabled. His multi-layered tissue excision and grafting surgeries sculpted slimmer, mobile, far less sensitive appendages. Now, 2 years into college pursuing an engineering degree, Muhammad focuses forward on career aspirations rather than past pains. Forever good-natured despite lifelong suffering, he only hopes his public story enlightens others about compassion towards those facing difference. Number 18. Charlotte Garside. Charlotte Garside is the tiniest girl in the entire world. She holds the title of being the smallest child on Earth, which is quite shocking when you consider just how petite she is. When Charlotte was born in the United Kingdom, she weighed only 0.9 kilograms and was shorter than 10 inches. To put that into perspective, most newborn babies weigh between 5 to 10 pounds. Charlotte was unbelievably tiny. Her rare form of primordial dwarfism prevented her from growing bigger, and she has remained microscopically small her whole life. Now at age 15, Charlotte stands just 1 foot 10 inches tall and weighs less than 11 pounds. Her tiny stature resembles that of a toddler, even though she's a teenager. Every aspect of her existence requires total care and oversight from her loving parents. They feed her, clothe her, educate her, and provide complete medical care, including dealing with Charlotte's compromised immune system. Her parents' devotion allows Charlotte to live a relatively normal life despite her disability. While she faces health issues like cysts and liver problems, Charlotte is thriving at school socially and academically. She may be the smallest girl ever, but she has giant strength and spirit. Number 17, Enqi. On one side of Enqi's face, his hair grows long, almost reaching his chin. But the other half of the Chinese boy's face tells a different story. No hair whatsoever. This extraordinarily rare condition has puzzled doctors around the world for years. Enqi's asymmetric hair growth began early in childhood around age 4. But while one side flourished with luscious locks, the other side remained completely bald. The startling sight garnered Enqi unwanted attention throughout childhood. Other children bullied and called him cruel names like monkey and hairy boy. This harassment deeply impacted Enqi's self-image and confidence. Tragically, Enqi's mother suffers from epilepsy and mental illness, while his father passed away when he was only 4. Despite his lack of parental support and resources, Enqi found the courage to talk to specialists about his unilateral hair condition. Surgeons have offered to try transplanting hair follicles from his hairy side to the bald side to make his face more symmetrical. For now, Enqi keeps his lengthy locks long to hide the baldness. While he may wish to blend in more with surgery someday, to the world, his rare hair pattern makes Enqi wondrously one of a kind. Number 16. Sam Burns. Sam Burns was an American boy who was told he likely wouldn't live past his teens. At age 3, Sam was diagnosed with progeria, a very rare disorder that makes kids age too fast. This extraordinary boy from upstate New York persevered years beyond initial estimates by turning personal tragedy into a selfless crusade benefiting others affected by his terminal condition. From age 3, when first diagnosed, Sam's body degraded far faster than normal due to progeria's cruel effects. The illness expedites cell damage, leading to symptoms like hair loss, stunted growth, skeletal fragility, cardiovascular complications, and more. Of the nearly 8 billion global population, under 200 children suffer diagnosably from classical progeria. Driven by his limited time left, Sam Burns courageously stepped into the role of disease spokesperson, even educating through an HBO documentary titled Life According to Sam. Sam's activism assisted his family's Progeria Research Foundation in raising over $35 million for studies probing the disorder's little-understood mechanisms. Experimental drug trials emerging thanks to such funded research now help today's young patients add precious months most never expected to see. Thanks to such research, experimental drugs recently let Sam live a bit longer than average, to 17 years old. Though just a child when he died in 2014, Sam Burns left an immense legacy of strength and heart, and his selfless, spirited pursuit for answers granted a reprieve to an entire progeria community, an immortal legacy for one so small, yet eternally strong. Number 15. Ali Trazizi. When Ali Trazizi of Wales was born, doctors discovered something shocking protruding inside the newborn's tiny nose. His brain. A large portion of Ali's brain tissue had grown down through his nasal cavity due to a rare birth defect. This strange malformation gave the baby boy an almost trunk-like bulge in the middle of his face. Due to the bizarre brain protrusion, Ali's mother nicknamed him her real-life Pinocchio. The unfortunate toddler required painful, intensive surgeries to correct the alarming brain protrusion. By age 2, Ali had already undergone major operations to remove the excess brain matter and reconstruct his nose. Ali's cranial defect was so incredibly rare that only specialized children's hospitals could treat it. Thankfully, after his surgeries, Ali recovered and adapted well. He enjoys playing with his big sister while showing off his new, properly proportioned nose. While Ali still requires some minor cosmetic procedures as he grows, doctors declared his brain tissue cyst cured. Despite his early struggles and deformity, Ali can now live life nose-bullying free, thanks to modern medicine. Number 14. Milagros Cerón. When baby Milagros Cerón was born in Peru, the shocked delivery room staff noticed the newborn girl had an almost mermaid-like quality about her. From belly button down, Milagros's legs were entirely fused together in one conjoined limb. This symptom pointed to an extremely rare congenital disorder dubbed mermaid syndrome. Babies born with this defect typically only survive a day or two, but feisty Milagros defied expectations. clinging to life hour after hour, then month after month. Not only did she make it past infancy against the odds, Milagros lived for 15 miraculous years. Over her first decade and a half, Milagros endured over a dozen surgeries to incrementally separate her legs and improve mobility. Brave Mila walked for the first time after age 5 thanks to her determined spirit and series of excruciatingly painful operations. In her teens, chronic health issues like kidney problems still plagued Milagros daily. Tragically, at 15, she passed away due to complications of her disorder. But the years Milagros fought so valiantly inspired many. Called a little angel by her grieving father, Milagros proved that even life's cruelest circumstances cannot extinguish a steadfast soul. Number 13. Tessa Evans. When Emma and Scott Evans lovingly welcomed their first baby into the world one February morning in Wales, new parents felt alarmed to find parts of infant Tessa's face mysteriously absent. Typical baby features like a button nose, rounded chin, and delicate nostrils were puzzlingly replaced by gaping cavities and odd, smooth skin unexpectedly. Doctors determined baby Tessa suffered from complete congenital arynia, an ultra-rare disorder leaving children born noseless, lacking sinuses entirely. Only 50 known cases exist worldwide of arynia like Tessa's. For parents, Emma and Scott, Tessa's facial uniqueness posed unexpected lifestyle adaptations. Without nasal air passages, Tessa struggled to eat early on only mouth breathing. So alternative trachea tubes aided feeding until Tessa strengthened enough for palatal enhancements. Despite nasal absence and hearing loss implications due to underdeveloped pathways, rambunctious tween Tessa now thrives chasing soccer balls with friends at age 8. Thanks to remarkable surgical interventions timed in phases as Tessa's skull grew, she underwent meticulous nasal construction using uniquely sculpted bone, cartilage, and skin grafts to pioneeringly build a facial framework absent since birth. Later process refinements will refine the shapely nose definition further by Tessa's teens. Number 12. Deepak Paswan. The moment Indian boy Deepak Paswan entered the world, shocked delivery staff noticed the newborn had not 2 or even 4 limbs, but 8. 2 nearly complete sets of legs and arms stuck out from Deepak's tiny body. Closer examination confirmed that Deepak had absorbed the limbs of an underdeveloped conjoined twin in the womb. This extremely rare condition was dubbed Deepak the Octo Boy. Young Deepak's extra appendages brought him misery, not a miracle. His traditional rural village shunned Deepak as an undesirable curiosity. Some revered Deepak like a god, which isolated him further rather than integrating him. Others spat at the boy and called him devil child. For years, no one stepped forward to help fund needed surgeries until age 7, when a hospital finally agreed to operate pro bono. Deepak's unneeded limbs were meticulously sawed off, one by one, in an excruciating 8-hour procedure broadcast on TV. Deepak persevered through a long, arduous recovery, learning to walk after losing half his legs. He maintains an upbeat, philosophical attitude, downplaying past ridicule and pain. Fully healed now, Deepak lives much like any average preteen boy, playing cricket with friends, free from stigma and defined by the spirit rather than strange anatomy from birth. His courage to speak out inspired India to rethink how differently limbed children deserve acceptance and compassion. Number 11. Pan Xinghang. The shimmery scales coating Pan Xinghang's body resemble the gills and flickering fins of a river fish, earning the Chinese village boy the descriptive moniker of Fish Boy. Young Pan suffers from an incredibly rare skin cell mutation called ichthyosis that radically transforms the human epidermis' normal, smooth texture. Instead of fine pores and soft surfaces children typically enjoy, 10-year-old Pan's skin grows hard, grayish-white discs up to half an inch across all over. These large flakes constantly shed painful patches from his arms, legs, hands, feet, and even his face. Pan's immune-compromising fish skin leaves him prone to infections if germs ever penetrate inside. He struggles to properly sweat to self-regulate body temperature as well. Nighttime brings little sleep relief, as Pan tosses, turns, and scratches due to the infernal itching ichthyosis causes. The condition necessitates Pan's worried parents manually apply medicinal moisturizing balms onto their son regularly, in lengthy full-body massages to keep his thick scaling exterior from splitting open bloody. Without such intensive mandatory skin conditioning, Pan's many flaky patches crack deeply like drought-stricken mudflats. Despite his leprosy-evoking appearance, Pan speaks openly about his little-known diagnosis to promote societal acceptance of visible differences. He wishes increased awareness and empathy about severe skin abnormalities can help shift perceptions in his remote hometown. If more villagers looked beyond appearance to embrace Pan's kind personality, he could find inclusion in playing with other children his age who normally avoid the fish boy in fear. Number 10. Verdant Joshi. When Indian boy Verdant Joshi entered the world, nurses noticed something amiss about the newborn's lower limbs. While his left foot appeared perfectly average, Verdant's right foot measured shockingly swollen. Throughout infancy as Verdant aged, his overgrown right foot expanded faster than the rest of his body. By toddler age, 18-month-old Verdant's inflated foot weighed nearly as much as him. Without intervention, the ballooning foot would render walking impossible. Extremely concerned, Verdant's parents sought medical insight about their son's foot anomaly overgrowing 5 times standard size. But despite dozens of baffled doctors' exams, his condition defied diagnosis. Some physicians even outrageously suggested amputation of the problematic foot. But compassionate specialists kept searching for solutions to accommodate Verdant's needs. His severe foot asymmetry and small stature left Verdant unable to attend school regularly, however. Isolated at home, neighborhood children shunned interaction with the boy they dubbed Twisted Foot. Verdant longed for friendships and normal mobility. Finally, recently, experimental bone surgeries showed promise, decreasing Verdant's oversized right foot burden. Though still larger than typical, reduced pressure from trimming extra internal tissue offers improved mobility and comfort. Now 12 years old, Verdant looks forward hopefully to more normal social integration, and one day, playing group sports with acceptance. Number 9. Meera Modi. In 2019, 11-year-old Meera Modi launched her own online business selling an unusual digital product ultra-secure randomly generated passwords. The young tech entrepreneur and middle schooler from New York developed an interest in privacy tools thanks to her journalist mother's work. Meera's mom researched password best practices, discovering an approach called diceware that technology specialists promote. This system features casting dice to produce strings of random dictionary words that are harder for hackers to crack. Rather than user-created passwords vulnerable to guessing based on personal data, diceware passphrases tap true randomness. Meera learned the exacting diceware technique from her mother, finding the cryptographic concept fascinating. Soon, an ambitious business idea struck. Meera created a website offering customers specially made uncrackable diceware passwords for $2 and rolled new sequences on demand herself manually. Orders rolled in, driven by Meera's viral story getting noticed. For every sale, inquisitive Meera physically tossed dice, consulting reference word lists to carefully log credentials by hand for clients. Her novel approach to generating unguessable passphrases while explaining the logic behind proper password principles earned kudos in cybersecurity circles. Meera relished opportunities to promote more vigilant password habits, proving kids also deserve a respected voice regarding digital safety. Though still mastering fractions in grade school, tech-savvy Meera amazed adults with her intuition grasped through playful experimentation and drive to follow passions. Number 8. Rebecca and Kimberly Young. School librarians know reading expands mental horizons, but 2 precocious sisters took that concept to unprecedented new heights, sending science balloons 21 miles high. In September 2015, when Louisiana twins Rebecca and Kimberly Young were just teens, the rocketing duo engineered a towering 9-foot-tall vessel from plastic bottles, HVAC ducts, and homemade air pumping systems. Dubbed Loki Lego Launcher, the sisters' inventive creation soared an astounding 23,000 feet during inaugural trials, straight into aviation record books. The resourceful students utilized weather monitoring equipment alongside 5 small onboard cameras to capture the launchpad vessel's incredible journey skyward through Earth's stratosphere. Watching Loki launch and then free-fall down while parachuting carried the unforgettable thrill of seeing science in action. Since Loki's early single-bottle prototype flew at age 10, the young sisters have continued improving subsequent vessel builds, even meeting President Obama at their school's science fair 2 years later. Now collegiate freshmen, twin innovators, Kimberly and Rebecca, each plan engineering degrees, though astrophysics and aerospace call respectively. But the inseparable sisters haven't finished pioneering airship advancements side by side yet. Their next shared vision? Designing disaster relief drone prototypes, bringing essentials like food, water, and medicine speedily to unreachable recipients. Number 7. Ryusei Imai, karate black belt. Ryusei Imai didn't learn martial arts by flailing wildly with sparkler sticks on New Year's Day. Instead, the Japanese boy embodied unparalleled technical prowess for his 5 tiny years of age. Footage originally shot to amuse family in 2011 soon went massively viral, attributed to one unbelievable fact. Preschooler Ryusei recreated iconic Bruce Lee combat choreography to perfection. Frame by frame, miniature Ryusei mirrors the late martial arts master's on-screen movements from signature films. Spinning nunchucks, hissing expressions, jabbed fists, all flawlessly finessed by big-eyed boy Ryusei as no toddler should compare. Beyond physical abilities, Ryusei intuitively expressed the layered emotionality iconic Bruce Lee fight scenes conveyed, not mere mimicry. Smooth forcefulness contrasted playfully cocky invitations, arrogance meeting consequences. Ryusei flows between roles, humorously baiting and then joyously throwing down with glee. Years now dedicated to honing martial talents in competitive arenas built formidable adolescent formidability deserves respect in its own right. But his uncannily accurate childhood Lee embodiment lives on immortalized online, freezing extraordinary young promise mid-motion for a mini-legend defined by timeless inspiration. Such precocious capability for conveying multifaceted meaning through movement surely signaled a dynamo destined to ignite global regard. Number 6. Versavia Goncharova. Shocked gasps echoed through the delivery room when newborn Versavia Goncharova emerged on February 2, 2017 in the eastern Russian city of Yoshkar-Ola. While little Versavia herself appeared beautifully healthy, within her exposed chest, nurses noticed the baby's heart terrifyingly unprotected, completely exterior to her body with no skin coverage. Versavia was born with ectopia cordis, an incredibly rare congenital defect causing children's developing hearts to abnormally protrude outside the ribcage as embryos. Usually fatal, only 5 to 8% of babies with ectopia cordis survive birth. Due to associated heart problems, fewer than 10% of those newborns live past their first medical surgery. But wonder of wonders, tiny fighter Versavia clung to life. Within her gaping chest cavity, Versavia's fully developed bright red heart pumped mightily in full view, its cardiac rhythm clearly traceable without machinery. Supported medically in those first fragile weeks, Versavia's very beating essence thrived despite lacking bone and muscle shields. Once stabilized after her sensationalized birth made international headlines, Versavia prepared to travel for advanced treatment overseas. Generous philanthropists covered immense flight and surgical expenses for relocating baby Versavia to Boston under renowned cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Christopher Hartnick's pioneering care. Through intricately skilled hands, Dr. Hartnick successfully constructed vital surrounding membranes so Versa's heart could safely settle protected in a rebuilt chest cavity. Months post-op, the once critical child blossomed into an active, giggling toddler. Wide-eyed Versa's early harrowing hurdles make her an extraordinary example of human anatomy's wonders. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Did you ever want a tattoo as a child? Well, we can't answer for you, but this Russian child's wishes came true. Allegedly, he escaped from an orphanage to live on his own. One day, the boy strolled into a tattoo parlor and somehow persuaded the artist to ink his entire face. As requested, elaborate designs were etched all over his face. However, this drew criticism. The tattooist was jailed for marking a minor. The runaway youth was eventually discovered and delivered back to his orphanage. Hopefully he has recovered and paved a better path since. Do you have any tattoos yourself? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. Gabby Gingras. Superpowers sound cool until you really think through them. 11-year-old Gabby Gingra from Ontario insightfully told journalists when asked about her rare genetic mutation's daily impacts. Gabby lives with a hereditary condition called HSAN5 that essentially eliminates the ability to feel pain or temperature changes. Lacking these key senses that prompt injury avoidance or thermal regulation seems an advantage in theory. But for Gabby, true suffering stems from constant vigilance required against unconscious self-harm, along with overheating dangers others automatically avoid. From toddlerhood on, Gabby lacked pain's protective alarm reactions. She nearly chewed fingertips ragged without noticing tissue damage underway, ultimately requiring hospitalization for severe biting injuries. Once home again, ever-worried parents carefully removed anything in reach little Gabby could put in her mouth, even pulling her teeth out for safety at one stage. Preventative bandages wrap Gabby's fingers as added protection when unsupervised, now approaching adulthood. However, at school or home, no amount of restraints curb potential harm the way instinct does. Gabby must consciously self-monitor for cuts, bruises, blood, or burns that bypass standard sensory warnings. She cannot easily participate in regular childhood playground activities either. Gabby's inability to experience feel-good sensations like cold ice cream or warm baths also feels isolating. By focusing public understanding on HSAN5 drawbacks more so than fictional heroic perks, courageous Gabby brushes off thoughtless envy to advocate realistic empathy about disabilities. Number 4. Dalia Arana. 9-year-old bookworm Dalia Arana possesses exceptional intelligence agreed upon by experts. Yet her real brilliance shines through pure passion to consume boundless textual worlds. Originally from suburban Maryland, what started as an early affinity for soothing bedtime stories in toddlerhood ignited into an all-consuming drive to devour every volume Dalia lays fingers upon. Her capacious vocabulary of over 4,000 books deep continues expanding exponentially. Local newspaper profiles labeled raven-haired Dalia a child genius prodigy, estimating her weekly average equals over 70 thick chapter books inhaled. Dalia's rare dedication earned a recent special Capitol Hill honor. Congress's head librarian appointed Smart Cookie D for a day. The prestigious once-annual position allowed Dalia full reign over the iconic research center's revered main reading room. From literature halls featuring original Gutenberg Bibles to overflowing modern legislative law libraries, this bookworm belle had the run of over 168 million items. Perusing centuries of global collected works was bibliophile heaven for Dalia. To thank the little lady, Congress celebrated by officially naming its main floor forum the Dalia Arana Young Readers Center moving forward. A magical memory for any book lover, but most especially sweet for one small girl who just can't get enough letters. Number 3. Isaiah Bird. Wrestling rivals knew to watch warily once Isaiah Bird from Ohio rolled onto the floorboards. Fierce competitive energy radiated through Bird's swift, calculated movements, pinning shocked opponents swiftly. Despite one apparent advantage, competitors assumed they held over Bird the lack of lower limbs. The Bird was born without legs, facing life supported from the hips down by characterized adaptive athletics mobility aids. Durable metal braces with hinge joints enabled Isaiah's strengthened torso ample flexibility in reaching, wrestling, and even running, albeit aided significantly by crutch braces. Isaiah refused to view limb difference as a disadvantage barring sports participation, however, trying out track and basketball before excelling undefeated 2 straight seasons in school wrestling championships. Reporters in awe documented tenacious teen Bird's outstanding grappling prowess, plus uplifting motivation mentoring fellow physically challenged athletes online. Thanks to modern assistive technologies paired with a resilient spirit, Bird achieved laser focus, forging new paths, where old assumptions about absence dictated the inability to limit horizons. He continues exploring groundbreaking possibilities at university now, while coaching various regional youth sports for mobility-impaired kids like himself, served as a profoundly relatable role model shaping all future goals to seem within reach through self-belief. Number 2. Jackson Cota. Some teens cringe struggling through basic algebra, but by 13, whiz-kid Jackson Cota rocketed rankings dominating elite university students in computational think tank challenges. When a junior high teacher first noticed Jackson exceptionally racing through complex calculus equations, other 7th graders found unfathomable. Extensive specialized IQ testing proved Kota's unequaled mathematical brilliance measured genius status. But the numbers prodigy preferred real-world application, competing amongst international contenders in intensely rigorous problem-solving tournaments. During 2018's MathCon Math Concepts competition spanning grades 5 up through 12th, Teen Jackson placed 7th out of over 45,000 global entrants. Winning mathematicians faced creatively formulated theoretical equations featuring advanced algebra, calculus, and geometry integration, treacherous for average test takers. Unfazed, analytical mastermind Jackson even devised his own computational shortcuts around convoluted formulas stumping older challengers. Ramanujan-like intuition for abstract equations, rhythmic beauty, and patterns earns growing acclaim for this research university-enrolled numbers phenomenon, now age 16. But peer social life still scores equally high priorities alongside proof for Jackson's brilliant young mind. Number 1. Yung Jinlong. At only 7 years old, Chinese village boy Yung Jinlong awed crowds by pulling a minivan weighing over 5,000 pounds, using just a harness on his body attached to the vehicle. It was truly an unbelievable sight. This small elementary school child straining step by step, hauling a heavy passenger vehicle by his might alone. Spectators watched Jinlong overcome immense resistance for 33 agonizing feet until the van passed the test line. We can only imagine how Jinlong's parents felt, seeing their tiny son tasked with such a monumental feat. But incredibly, when the exhausted yet beaming boy finally finished, he reportedly just smiled proudly and asked if he could go practice piano scales next. Clearly, Jinlong is not your average child when it comes to physical abilities. While doctors surely scratched their heads wondering how the laws of physics allowed such strength from a 7-year-old frame, Jinlong's family attributes his muscle power simply to intense training begun in toddlerhood. They claim no special medicine or magic helps their boy, just exceptional dedication honed by genetics. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.